Mercury. You wake up on Mercury's barren surface, eyes stinging from an unfiltered sun. The sky is black, even though the star looms directly overhead. Instantly, you realize you have no air to breathe. Mercury has essentially no atmosphere, only an exosphere of stray atoms. You gasp for breath and find nothing. The first killer is suffocation. Even if you miraculously had oxygen, the relentless solar blast soon scorches you. By day, Mercury's surface soars to about 800 degrees Fahrenheit, 430 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt lead. Protective gear melts, steel softens, your blood begins to boil. If, somehow, you survive the inferno, the sun sets and plunges you into bitter night. Temperatures dive to around minus 290 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 180 degrees Celsius. One moment you feel burned, the next you begin freezing. The vacuum offers no warmth, and your body starts to crystallize in the darkness. Nothing lives here. You are isolated under the burning glare of the sun. And then the endless frozen night. Utterly exposed, Mercury is merciless with its fire and ice. What kind of torment awaits you next? Venus. You open your eyes beneath a roiling sky of sulfuric clouds on Venus. An orange haze suffocates you. The air is thick with carbon dioxide and acid. Your lungs burn instantly. Venus's atmosphere is 96% CO2 with crushing pressure. The first death sentence is the lack of oxygen. Struggling, you somehow retain a breath by sheer will or wear a lucky spacesuit. But the second horror strikes. The atmospheric pressure is about 90 times Earth's. It feels like a mountain is compressing you. Any protective suit is rapidly squeezed until seams burst and blood is squeezed from your bones. If that weren't enough, droplets of sulfuric acid drizzle down from the clouds, sizzling against metal and flesh. You feel the acid eat through your gear, then into your skin. Finally, the relentless heat at about 860 degrees Fahrenheit, 460 degrees Celsius, becomes your undoing. Your heart races as layers of your flesh start cooking from the outside in, and you realize how merciless this planet is. The air burns, the pressure crushes, and acid rains down. What horrors will Mars hold for you beyond this suffocating sky? Mars. You awaken on the dusty red plains of Mars, under a tawny sky. At first, you feel cold, dizzy, your helmet fogging. This world's atmosphere is almost a vacuum. Only about 0.6% of Earth's pressure, and mostly carbon dioxide. You test a breath and choke. There's no oxygen here. Again, suffocation would kill you fast. If somehow you're in a pressurized suit, the silence is eerie. Even in a full suit, the thin air brings crushing cold. Mars averages around minus 80 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 62 degrees Celsius on the surface, often falling far below minus 100 degrees Fahrenheit at night. Your body heat radiates away instantly. Meanwhile, with almost no atmosphere to block solar rays, every second you're bombarded by ultraviolet and cosmic radiation. Your skin and eyes burn in the invisible sunlight, your cells mutated by each passing minute. As dusk falls, a dust storm roars in from the distance. Gale force winds whip up iron-rich soil. The temperature plummets. In your last moments, you float helplessly in the red darkness, too frozen to move. The cold bites deeper than any sun could burn. What challenges await you on Jupiter? Jupiter. You wake up in a void of swirling clouds on Jupiter. Around you stretch striped bands of orange and white. And above rages the great red spot, a storm larger than Earth. There is no ground, only endless sky. The air is almost pure hydrogen and helium. There's no oxygen to inhale. Your first breath is your last asphyxiation, unless you clung to a protective pod. If you survive that, your body is pounded by gravity 2.5 times Earth's, a weight that instantly snaps bones and crushes muscles. You feel yourself sink ever downward, deeper into the planet. With each kilometer, pressure mounts insanely. Above you, ammonia clouds swirl and lightning flashes. Below you, pressure turns hydrogen into a liquid metal. With no solid surface, you have nowhere to rest. You are dragged toward a boiling heart. Despite your suit's strength, the pressure is beyond any human tolerance. Your skin feels it first, imploding inward. Meanwhile, Jupiter's fierce magnetosphere bathes you in lethal radiation. You feel pain as invisible rays shred your nervous system. Deep inside, heat rises unimpeded. Even if you could hold on, the internal temperature rises steeply. Gases you breathe crackle into plasma around you. Jupiter offers no escape. You are crushed, irradiated, and burned in a sky that will outlast your scream. Endless storms, crushing gravity, and invisible rays. Saturn will test you in new ways. Saturn. You awaken in the thick golden haze of Saturn's atmosphere. Faint rings arch overhead through the haze, debris glittering in alien skies. You draw a breath. Only vacuum greets you. Saturn is mostly hydrogen and helium. There is no oxygen. Instantly you are choking before suit sealing or supply. If you manage air, the next horror is crushing pressure and gravity. At the outer surface, gravity is only slightly stronger than Earth's. But as you descend through multicolored cloud bands, pressure skyrockets. Hydrogen gas liquefies. Deeper, it becomes metallic under strains you cannot imagine. Your body is squeezed like a tin can, organs compressing, veins bursting. Violent winds whip around the planet. Storms rage in long-lived vortices. You feel buffeted by 1,100 miles per hour, 1,800 kilometers per hour. Winds that tear at your suit. Bolts of lightning flash in distant clouds. But fire is useless in the predominantly hydrogen sky. Ice hail pelts you mercilessly. Each breathless moment in these clouds brings you closer to utter failure. You are suffocated by crushing weight and battered by cold lightning beneath the majestic rings. Beautiful from afar, deadly up close. How will Uranus's icy winds challenge you? Uranus. You awaken on Uranus, shivering under an eerie bluish sky. The sun is a brilliant star, but its light feels faint in this distance. You inhale and find nothing to breathe. Uranus's air is 83% hydrogen and 15% helium, with methane giving it a green-blue tint. But again, no oxygen. If a suit provides air, the immediate threat is the cold. Uranus is the coldest planet. Temperatures drop to around -224 degrees Celsius. Your body loses heat fast. Frost forms in your lungs. Gale force winds tear across the atmosphere, measured up to 560 miles per hour, 900 kilometers per hour. Your suit strains in the gale, nitrogen ice crystals scouring it. Even with protection, the darkness that comes with 42 years of polar night would see you frozen solid long before rescue. Uranus offers no comfort. A lonely blue ice giant, crushingly cold, suffocating, and windswept. In the end, you succumb to hypothermia, locked in eternal night, cold, lonely, and winds that tear through everything. Neptune's storms will be even more merciless. Neptune. You awaken in Neptune's darkness. The planet's deep blue clouds swirl under stormy winds, and the distant sun is a pinpoint far away. As before, there's no oxygen. The air is hydrogen, helium, and methane. You gasp in vain. already your cells starve. If you have air, the second horror is Neptunian cold. This world is relentlessly frigid, very cold and very windy, as NASA says. Temperatures plunge to around minus 218 degrees Celsius, colder than Pluto. Suddenly you realize your bones might freeze before you even inhale enough air. Hurricanes circle with winds over 1,500 miles per hour, 2,400 kilometers per hour, along Neptune's great dark spot, tearing at your suit. Lightning flashes across storm clouds, but gas giants know only very high-altitude lightning. There is nowhere stable to stand or land, and sinking inward brings you to crushing pressures and alien ices. As you die, the only consolation is that this distant storm will rage on long after you are gone. Hurricanes that could shred a planet, cold that steals life. Can you survive Pluto's frozen plains? Pluto. You awaken on Pluto's frozen plain, little more than an ice ball in interstellar night. Around you swirl thin golden haze layers. When you inhale, you find almost nothing. Pluto's atmosphere is a wisp about 1 Pascal, roughly 1 over 100,000 of Earth's pressure. It's mostly nitrogen vapor, with tiny amounts of methane and carbon monoxide. There's no warmth. The surface temperature is a lethal 40 Kelvin, minus 233 degrees Celsius. Even in a pressurized suit, you're brutally cold. Your breath condenses instantly. A gentle wind of nitrogen gas might brush you, but it's essentially vacuum. At least gravity is low, but that means you float helplessly. After your suit's air runs out, freezing sets in. Your blood begins to ice. Finally, you may contemplate the slow sublimation of nitrogen beneath you as your eyesight fails. In this silence, beneath a distant sun, you die alone. At the edge of the void, isolation is absolute, but soon, Earth's warmth and air will welcome you. Earth. You awaken on Earth. Blue sky overhead, the warmth of sun and oxygen around you. You breathe a long, deep breath of life-sustaining air, 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and feel the heartbeat in your chest. Water drips on your skin from a cloudburst. You feel alive. For a moment, hope is not lost. A whisper tells you, though, that Earth's threats are different. First the storms, then maybe fire or disease. You might soon feel the trembling of an earthquake or hear the distant roar of a hurricane. But unlike the others, Earth's dangers come from within, plummeting oxygen at night in volcanic ash, or starvation from spoiled soil. Threats we create or endure, not the uninhabitable void outside. If death comes, it is as humans have known since time began. Of age, disease, or disaster. Yet, as you lie in lush green fields under the sky, you realize Earth is a unique miracle. No other place in this solar system offered you even a breath, a roof of clouds, a drop of rain. The cosmic horror fades here. You die, knowing you were given the rarest gift of all, a world that could keep you alive at all. At last, life. The terror fades, replaced by fragile, precious existence. This is the only sanctuary for you. If you enjoyed this cosmic journey, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to stay updated on new planetary adventures, and leave your thoughts in the comments. I'll be reading every comment and replying to each one, so don't hold back. See you on the next adventure.